Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're making crochet bun covers. I'm so excited. This has been on my to make list forever. I think they're so stylish and they add such a feminine touch to any and every outfit. Plus they're very ballet coded. There will be two versions to this tutorial, so use the timestamps if needed. They will be listed in the description down below. Now in order to make these bun covers, you're going to need a crochet thread. For the second version of this bun cover, I did double strand my yarn in order to give it a little bit of a sturdier feel. To go along with your crochet thread, you're going to need a smaller crochet hook. I used a 3.25mm crochet hook. If you don't have that exactly, that is okay. Something around that size will do. You'll also need a darning needle, a pair of scissors, and you might want a stitch marker, it's optional, as well as a rocking playlist. This tutorial won't have any background music, so you can play your favorite songs as you work on your projects. I don't know about you, but I love to crochet with a good song or movie in the background. Don't worry, you'll hear my lovely voice, just no background music. And make sure that you like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Now let's go ahead and get on into version 1 of this tutorial. So first you're going to go ahead and make a magic ring. After you've made your magic ring, go ahead and put 12 single crochets into your magic ring. After you've completed your 12 single crochets, go ahead and pull that tail end to close your ring. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet of this round to close the round. Okay, now going into round 2, you're going to start off by chaining 1. And then in the very first stitch that we have here, the same one that we just slip stitched into to join our round, you're going to go ahead and put 2 single crochets. So those 2 single crochets are how you do an increase, and we're going to do an increase into every single last one of our stitches in this round. So move over to the next stitch and go ahead and put 2 single crochets in there, and just keep repeating that until you get back to the starting point of this round. I've made it to the end of my round. Now I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the very first single crochet of the round to join it. Now moving into our third round, you're going to start off by doing a chain of 5. The first 3 chains count as a double crochet, and the second 2 chains are your chain 2 space. Then you're going to skip the next stitch, and into the third stitch of this round, you're going to work 1 double crochet. Then you're going to chain 2, skip the next stitch, and work 1 double crochet into the stitch that follows. Now you're just going to go ahead and repeat this all the way around your circle. I'll meet you guys once we get back to our starting point. Once you've made it to the end of this round, what you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch into the third chain of your chain 5 to join into the round. Now moving into the next round, first we're going to start off by slip stitching into the chain 2 space. And then what we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, and this is going to count as our first double crochet. And we want to have 4 double crochets in this chain space in total, and we're going to put them all together. So yarn over, reach into the chain space, and then pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So we're not going to complete this double crochet. That's half of our second double crochet. We're going to do it 2 more times. So yarn over again, go back into the chain 2 space, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops once again. So that's 3, and then we do it again. So yarn over, reach back into the chain 2 space, and then pull up a loop, and then yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops. That's 4. Then after that, you'll yarn over and pull through all 4 of the loops on your hook. Then from there, you're going to go ahead and chain 5.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then move over to the next chain 2 space, which I'm sorry if you guys can't see this all too clearly. Maybe I'll come a little closer. Then move over to the next chain 2 space, yarn over, and we're going to do 4 of these double crochets put together. So we yarn over, reach into the chain 2 space and pull up a loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops. That's 1. Yarn over again, reach back into the loop and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. That's 2. Yarn over again, reach back into the chain 2 space and pull up a loop. Then yarn over and pull through 2 of those loops. That's 3. And one more time, yarn over, reach back into the chain 2 space, pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2 of those loops. That's 4. So now we can yarn over and pull through all of the remaining loops on our hook. Then after that, go ahead and chain 5. And then we're going to move over to our next chain 2 space. And we're just going to keep repeating that all the way until we get to our starting point again. So I'll meet you guys once I get there. Okay, once you've made it to the end of your round, which you should have 12 of these little puff stitch looking things here, you're going to end off with chaining 5, and then instead of slip stitching into any of these chain stitches here, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the stitch that sits right above the first puff. So that marks the end of our next round. Moving into our next row, what you're going to do is, sorry it's kind of hard to see on here, but you're going to slip stitch into the next 3 stitches. And that's just because we want to make our way to the center of our chain here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to chain 1 and then work 1 single crochet into the chain space. Then you're going to go ahead and chain 5. And then work a single crochet into the next chain space. Then chain 5 again. Work 1 single crochet into the next chain space. And you're going to do this all the way around this round until you get back to this first single crochet that we did in our first chain space. So I'll meet you guys there. Okay, so I just single crocheted into the last chain space. Here is where I started off at. I see my single crochet is there. So I'm going to finish up by chaining 5 one more time. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that very first single crochet that I did for this round. Then once again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch into the next 3 stitches, so that way it places me perfectly in the center of this chain 5 here. Then I'm going to chain 1. And then I'm going to go ahead and start my next round, which will be the repeating round. You can make your bun cover as big as you want. If you keep following this, the actual cover itself will grow in size, but it shouldn't grow too much wider after this round. So at this point, you're just doing however many rounds you want to accommodate how thick your hair is. So I chained 1. Now, once again, I'm going to do 1 single crochet into this chain space. Then I am going to chain 6 instead of 5 this time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next chain space. And basically that extra chain 1 is going to add a little bit extra size to this. If you need to make your bun cover even bigger, then with every round that you do, you can just keep adding 1 chain to each of, your little chain spaces that we do around and around. I think I would probably cap it personally at 6, but I'm going to go ahead and just continue to chain 6, do 1 single crochet into the next chain space all the way around this round, as well as for maybe like 3 or 4 more rounds total. I think I want to have about like somewhere between 4 and 6 of these little just like mesh, diamond mesh rounds. So I will do that and then I'll meet back with you guys. So remember, chain 6, move over to the next space, chain space, and single crochet. Then once you get to the end of the round, you're going to slip stitch into the very first single crochet of your round. If it helps, you can put a stitch marker on there so you can identify it easier. And then you'll slip stitch into the next like 3 or so stitches, just so it places you perfectly in the center of your chain space. And you'll just keep repeating around and around until you're satisfied with the size of your bun cover. Okay, so I finished and I did do 7 rounds of this mesh. I thought I was only going to do 6, but I did 7. And I think I like the size of this. I found one of my old bun covers from when I did ballet. It's so funny. Or not bun covers, but the little like bun makers. So I'm using that to kind of like gauge how big I want to make this, but you can just reference, you know, by covering it over top of your hair to see if you like the sizing. You can make more of these rounds or less. But once you are satisfied, what you're going to do is once again, you're going to slip stitch into the next 3 stitches until you're in the center of this chain space here. Then you are going to go ahead and just chain 3. This is going to count as our first double crochet. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to put 3 more double crochets into the chain space. So you should have 4 double crochets in your chain space. Then jump over to the next chain space and do 4 double crochets. And you're just going to go ahead and repeat this all the way around till you get to this last chain space right next to where we started off at. So I'll meet you guys once I get there. Okay, so I just made it to the end of my round. So once again, to close my round, I'm going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 3 that we did to start off this round. Then you're going to chain 1, and then you can cut your yarn and then weave in this tail end a little bit to hide it and then cut off the excess that you have. Then once you have done that and you've woven in your tail ends, this is what your bun cover will look like. Now all we have left to do is to make a long chain that we're going to use to weave back and forth in between these double crochets that we did, so that way we'll be able to secure this onto our hair. So now that that is done, go ahead and take another strand of yarn and you're going to create a slip knot. And then you're just going to work up a long chain. My chain is about 25 inches, or that would be roughly 63.5 centimeters long. You can do yours a little bit longer. You can do yours a little bit shorter. You know, that's a personal preference. But once you have the length that you desire, you're going to go ahead and cut your yarn and then pull that tail end through. Then what you're going to do, which I'm going to just start because I have yet to weave in my tail ends, I'm going to start looping and weaving in my little cord here back and forth through my stitches. Now there's 2 ways you can go about it. If you want the cord to kind of be like a part of the whole design, then what I would do is go in between the pockets of where these double crochets sit. So I would go here and then I would go up underneath these 4 double crochets and then weave my yarn out through there and just keep going back and forth. That's going to allow like little strips of your cord to be seen. But if you want it to be perfectly hidden, then what you could do is, which is a little bit more tedious, but you'll just go around every single last stitch, like weaving back and forth. And that will like perfectly disguise it, so you won't be able to see it. But both are options on how you can secure your little cord tie onto your piece. All right, so if you're interested in version 2 of this bun cover, then after you finish doing the 4 double crochets into each of your chain spaces, everything else is exactly the same. You're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start our next round. I did decide for this one to double strand my yarn just to make it a little bit sturdier. It is still a lace weight yarn that I'm working with, but 2 strands instead of 1 makes everything a little bit tighter. So the little fan part that we're getting ready to do, it'll just hold its shape a little bit better. Okay, so first you're going to start off by chaining 4. Then you're going to turn your work. And in this little hole right here, you're going to go ahead and do 1 double crochet. Then you're going to chain 1 and do 1 more double crochet into that hole. So now we basically have like 3 double crochets, both separated by a chain 1 in this hole here. Now jump in between the next 2 sets of 4 double crochets that we have, and you're going to do 3 more double crochets, all separated by a chain 1. So you do 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, and then another chain 1, and then 1 more double crochet to get our 3 double crochets. And you're just going to repeat that into every space that sits in between the 4 sets of double crochets. Just 3 double crochets separated by a chain 1. So I will meet you guys at the end of this row. When you've made it to the end of your row, you're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the 3rd chain of your chain 4. Okay, now making my way into the next round, you're going to start off by once again chaining 4. Then you're going to turn your work. And in this space here where our chain 4 has built out of, you're going to go ahead and do 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, because the initial chain 4 that we did counts as a double crochet and a chain 1. So there we go. Then you're going to move over into the first chain 1 space that we come next to, and you're going to go ahead and do 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. Then in the next chain 1 space, we're going to do the same thing. 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. Then the space that we come to after that is not an actual like V-stitch, which I don't know if I mentioned that, but we are doing V-stitches. But it's the space that sits in between where your V-stitches are. So the V-stitches are the spaces with the chain 1. These gaps in between are just little gaps that we are also going to be working in. Don't know what to call them. But so in this gap, we are going to do 3 double crochets separated by chain 1. So in here, I'll do 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. Oh, getting caught on my yarn. There we go. Chain 1, so that was 2. And here's my 3rd double crochet. Okay, so that's how I'm going to handle the increases. And then we see right after that, our next 2 stitches or spaces here are chain 1 spaces. So into each of these, it just gets 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. Then in the little, or I shouldn't say little, it's a pretty big gap. In this gap here, we do 3 double crochets that are separated by a chain 1. Okay, so keep repeating that all the way around. I'll meet you guys at the end of this round. Okay, I made it to the end of my round and I slip stitched into the 3rd chain of the chain 4 here. So going into the next round, we're only going to be working into the V stitches. So as you can see here, this looks like a defined V. It looks like we have 2, 1 and then 2, and then there's a little space in between there. What we're going to be working into are the little chain 1 spaces in our actual V stitch. So we're doing a V stitch over top of a V stitch. So from where I'm at, I need to slip stitch over into the next space, which is a chain 1 space. It might be kind of hard to see because everything's all scrunched up and like ruffly, which we actually do want. But once you get in there, you're going to go ahead and chain 4. And then that counts as 1 double crochet and a chain 1. So then we just have to do 1 more double crochet into that same chain 1 space. Then from there, we're going to look and find our next V, which sits right next to it because here's our chain 1 space. So we're going to go ahead into that chain 1 space and do 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. Then if you look at the stitch right after that, this is not a chain 1 space, so we skip that hole and move to the one next to it, which is a chain 1 space. So we're going to go ahead and work our next V-stitch in there. So you do 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet, all into that chain 1 space. Look at the next space. That is not a chain 1 space. Move over to the one that follows. What do you know? It's a chain 1 space. So we'll go ahead and do our next V-stitch, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet into that chain 1 space. So you're going to have to just keep paying attention and looking to find where the chain 1 spaces are in this round, or I should say of the round below, and that's where you're going to work your next V-stitch, which is just a double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. So keep following this pattern all the way around this round, and I'll meet back with you guys at the end of this round. I've just made it to the end of my round, so once again I'm going to slip stitch into the 3rd chain from that chain 4, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the V stitch right next to me, and I'm going to do the same thing that I just did for my previous round into this next round, and this will be my final round. So here, because things aren't quite as compact, you can see the V stitches a little bit clearer, I think, going into this round. But you're just doing a V-stitch in top of, or I should say, into the chain 1 space of the V-stitch from the row below. So I may as well do like the first 2 with you guys since we're here. So once again, we'll start off with a chain of 4. And then that counts as 1 double crochet and a chain 1. So go back into that chain 1 space and do 1 more double crochet. Then we're going to jump over to this next V-stitch. And in that chain 1 space, we do 1 double crochet, chain 1, 1 double crochet. So go ahead and repeat that all the way around your work. Once you get to this last V-stitch here, you're going to go ahead and slip stitch into the 3rd chain of this chain 4. Then you can chain 1 and cut your yarn. And I will meet you guys after that is done. So once you've made it to the end of your round and then you slip stitched, chain 1 and cut your yarn, all you have left to do is weave in your tail ends and make sure that you crochet your long chain. And just like how we did for our other oh my gosh, I almost called this a scrunchie. Just as you did for your other bun cover, we're going to go ahead and we're going to weave this back and forth into this round here, the same as this one where we did it in between like those rows of, or that row, it was only one, of the 4 double crochets. So what I'm gonna do, I actually want this to kind of like line up right here since I still have to weave in my ends. But so what you're just gonna do is go ahead and go back and forth, weaving in, up and down in between your 4 double crochet clusters. And you're just gonna pull that through all the way around so that way you'll be able to like scrunch up your little bun cover around your bun, and then this little fanned out portion will kind of like sit flat up against the back of your head. Oh, how cute, looks like a little hat. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish weaving this in, and then I will meet you guys and show you the finished products.
And this is what your final piece should look like. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please be sure to tag me in any photos that you post of your hair bun covers. I would love to see them. And make sure that you stay tuned and come back tomorrow for another crochet tutorial. Bye guys!